Good evening, everyone. Please welcome each and every one that's already joining. Please welcome yourself to this beautiful, beautiful podcast, joined by Q for You podcast, Smiles to the Pain Incorporated out of North Carolina. We have John in the house. We have Canada from TikTok in the house. We also may have another guest here shortly, a very beautiful person who is going to inform us of some other beautiful persons that might be joining our beautiful family. However, as of right now, we are just going to run around the corner right here to Roberta, aka Robert, and go ahead and drop it on him, Robert. Q for you. What's up?
Oh man. Well, we're now sharing a platform with you guys. Sunday and Monday nights we will be here. We're casting to our YouTube, to your YouTube. We're casting on your Facebook. We are trying to get the word out there and share it with everybody. Trying to get the knowledge out there. And I want to welcome all of y'all to the podcast. And I'm glad I could join y'all tonight.
Oh, glad to have you, brother. Glad to have everybody here. Everybody, everybody, especially Canada, the green man down there, Canada. I mean, he hasn't done this with us yet. I mean,
No, I have not. Hello, hello.
so we also got John as FBM underscore John 35 on TikTok. If y'all don't know, he doesn't have his name tag up there. I don't think any of us do.
Yeah, I
Actually,
don't know where.
hold on. Let me see if I can fix that. I may have took it down when I put up the banner. Either way, we are all here, one supportive family across the nation, different states, all come together to try and raise awareness, trying to find a cure for muscular dystrophy and trying to help those that can't help themselves. That's where it's at with us. We are no saint. We're not angels. We're none of that. We're just ordinary citizens of the United States of America who actually care about the citizens of the United States of America. And Robert just backed out. He'll probably be back in 1 second. But go ahead and introduce yourself there, John.
Do what?
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yo, so I'm FBM, stands for Fat Bald Man. It's fitting. So Fat Bald Man, FBM John underscore John 35 on TikTok. How I got involved in this is someone invited me to Steven's live on TikTok, and the story just touched me so much that I had to get involved in some way or another to help any way I could. Not a man of money, but I got some other things that are worth money that I decided I was going to raffle off a Harley Davidson and donate that money to Smiles of the Pain. But I wasn't just going to stop there. I was going to spread the word. So every time I go live, we talk about it. I didn't know much about muscular dystrophy when I started this journey, but I educate myself daily. And I mean, if you know anything about muscular dystrophy, and find out that his daughter at 12 years old was diagnosed with one of the rarest forms of it, you understand why I had to do something and be a part of it.
Robert's in the studio right now. Let me pull him back in. Canada, you're up next. Explain your journey.
My name's Canada. I usually broadcast on TikTok, so you guys can find me there. But I came across Smiles for the Pain through TikTok that jumped in one of my live chats, and it kind of just grew instantly from there. It was an instant connection, and we dove head first. We didn't dip our toes in anything. We just dove right into it, and here we are today. We've gone green for Smiles Through the Pain, and we're making things happen.
Hell yeah, Robert. Go ahead. You can go and well, you already did yours. Yeah, you already know. You already know. Everybody knows Robert.
I joined in on my phone. I got tired of the other thing, man.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I got you. All right. So, basically, like John said, like in our method of organization, we each one reach one, teach one, and that's how the word gets around. We don't just hold all the information we learn to ourselves. We each one reach one and then teach one, so that someone else can also spread that message. Uh, but first, we ascertain the message that we're trying to relay, so we don't hurt someone else or lead them down the wrong path of not knowing exactly what they're talking about when they repeat that message. Because everybody knows the story of the 10 monkeys, you know.
Yep.
Goes monkey's ears, goes around, comes back out. So we try to keep that message as plain to see and as what's a good word for it? Just easy to understand. Easy to relay. It doesn't have to be like scientific details. Just our common story alone. It's just bare facts. No definition, just bare facts, and that's the best way to keep it as far as moving forward. But what I did want to do is bring up a couple of topics tonight. I'm about to throw something up on the screen. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, our faces will disappear for just a brief second while I read this off. But we're going to check this out and go over these facts right here. This is fact number 25 from limb-girdle muscular dystrophy facts. Early symptoms of limb-girdle muscular dystrophy may include difficulty climbing upstairs, frequent falls, difficulty rising from a seated position, or even the inability to stand on their toes. That being said, anybody that has a relative that you see these symptoms in, it doesn't mean they're old. It doesn't mean they have arthritis. I mean, it could, but is that the exact honest answer? Is that the exact truth about the situation? Because we see people trip and fall
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, what kind of tripping and falling is it? Is it because they have something going on up here, or in their muscles? Are they handicapped? I mean, what's the answer there? So it becomes incumbent upon each of us to look at these people and say, "Hey, stop! Have you ever been genetically tested? You know, have you ever been tested genetically to find out exactly if that's the actual thing?" Because some people think they have arthritis real bad. Arthritis can affect the hands, affect the knees, but so does muscular dystrophy. You think about it. If you think about it, so does muscular dystrophy. That being said, like, let's go to this fact right here. I'm gonna pop this up on the screen right here. That's an actual fact. It's not in the thousands. It's that number. 600 skeletal muscles in the human body. 600 of them that operate the skeleton itself, from limbs, arms, legs, neck, etc. 600 muscles to be exact. It takes 17 muscles to smile and 42 to frown. It takes 72 to speak one word. That's an exact fact. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a guess. It's an exact fact.
72.
That's exactly how many it takes.
So, and the thing we've learned so far about this disease is that as the muscles are overworked, it damages them more, correct? So, with that being said, wouldn't it stand to say that the more you talk, the more that those 72 muscles are going to be injured?
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, like, even dealing with Michaela, and Larry's here now, and he's been the past few days. He's been interacting with Michaela on a personal level, interface, around the house, the chores and whatnot, so he can physically see what's going on. So he's an eyewitness testimony, and like even with Michaela, she is in speech therapy every day because the muscles in her mouth don't let her form words right, you know, and the comprehension behind it, the cognitive skills don't allow her to structure her sentences right. Like she was saying fidget freighter for the longest, instead of refrigerator, it was fidget freighter or when we see an ambulance on the road, she would just call it a meat wagon because she couldn't pronounce the word ambulance. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't an ambulance; it was an ambulance to her. She had to break it into 3 syllables: ambulance instead of ambulance. She couldn't pronounce the actual word. So, and there's many words that she still can't pronounce, even with the speech therapy going on, and it's due to that. It's the muscles. But people don't even think about that. It's she's losing her legs, she's losing it's limb girdle, she's losing her arms. Well, now she's losing her hands, and apparently the whole time she's been losing the muscles in her mouth too. You know, so it's just something to think about
Yeah.
because when you apply the concept of, I got the facts here too. Let me pull it up on the board. I think this one right here. Um, No, that's not it. But we can touch that in a minute. Let me see if it's this one. Yeah, right here. Limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, LGMD. Hugging a loved one, rolling over in bed, raising up from a seated position, reaching for an item in the cupboard, walking on a grassy, sandy, or gravel surface, walking upstairs, wiping a tear from your eye, scratching an itch, bathing, getting dressed, lifting a glass for a sip of a beverage, writing a letter, working on a windy day, waving hello, a simple handshake. For someone with LGMD, most of these daily characteristics. Oh, hold on, let me back. I went too far. My thing's in the way. I'm sorry. Get back to the map's in the way. I can't read it. Yes. For someone with LGMD, many of the most of these daily activities can eventually become difficult or even impossible to perform independently, depending upon the stage of the progressive neuromuscular disease. Depending on the stage. So, what does that say about my child? What stage is she actually in? You know, what does that actually say? You know,
That's crazy. A simple hug,
a
a
simple hug.
handshake,
Yep, it's difficult.
walking is
That's right.
difficult.
That's right. It's your gamer from Russia. Welcome to our show. We're also on Facebook Live and YouTube, Smiles to the Pain Incorporated or Q for You podcast. We are streaming live to both those stations. Just welcome in. We are discussing facts of muscular dystrophy tonight. Wait, we got a couple comments. Let me see what we got in the comment feed. We got Tasha in here. Tasha. Any questions you have, please, you can post them straight to YouTube or Facebook. They pop in our feed right here. You guys should also be able to see them on your screen. We've got 3 followers on those platforms right now. If they have questions, please feel free to type them in. They'll pop up on our screen, and I can read them out loud, and we can answer them to the best of our capabilities.
Yep.
Yeah, so like even like just a brief example, like my wife has a Honda Pilot. It's not very high off the ground. You know, it takes Michaela longer to get out of the car than it would take my 1 year old to get in the car. And she's a fast climber.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it literally, to get in the car, Michaela literally has to reach in and kind of go in sideways. It's really weird watching it because of how she has to adapt to getting in and out of a vehicle. You know, when we see her try to get like my wife and I's bed used to be really really high, like belly button, and she would literally have to like fall over on the bed and waddle a little bit to get herself up on our bed. So how she her bed in the morning? You know, you got to ask yourself that.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just things that we have to think about as individuals who are looking at something that we're trying to find a cure for, because there are more people out there with this that don't even know they have it. Let me drop another fact up there. Right. Dropping another. Is that the one I already had? Yep, that's early. All right, here you go, right here. Types of limb-girdle muscular dystrophy with a dominant inheritance pattern can run in families, as parents with the mutation have a 50% chance of passing it on to their children. 50% chance. I'll read it again. Types of
Wow.
limb-girdle muscular dystrophy with a dominant inheritance pattern can run in families, as parents with the mutation have a 50% chance of passing on to their children. 50%.
That's crazy.
Y'all speak on that. I have to step away for like 2 seconds.
All right. Well, that just goes to show genetic testing. Me and Christy were talking about having another baby a while back, and after I got to learn about all this stuff, it's something that, if it comes to fruition, we'll definitely have to do.
The only thing that like sucks is genetic testing isn't really covered by nearly any insurance almost, like, and so for the most part, especially if it's not like something that's common or rare, that's pricey, man. You know, that's like a downside of it. A lot of people can't afford that genetic testing. So like that's kind of like
I believe
another.
he said it's free. If you go through the
is it?
OBGYN, yeah, I believe he
Okay.
said it's free.
Okay,
So that's something that.
Because I know with our kids there was I just assumed it was part of other genetic testing that when they're like, oh, you can do this, this, and this, but it's like $3,600 to get it done, and I'm like, oh,
I'm gonna drop it on the screen. I'm gonna drop it on the screen for you. Let me get back to
Right,
my
Stephen, that's
invitation.
correct, right? Genetic testing is
So if
free,
it's
right?
free,
Yeah,
if it's free, right? It
I'm
shouldn't
gonna
even
drop it
be
on the
an
screen.
option if you want to do it or not. It should just pretty much be done when you're going to the OBGYN and they're doing all the blood work anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, right there. It's up there.
So
Genetic testing through invite.com, or ask your primary doctor or OBGYN.
so they can start doing the genetic testing before the child's even born, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. See,
So
the
that's what
thing,
I mean. Like, why not?
they'll first
Why,
test the parents. They'll test both you and your spouse. They'll test both of you first, and then once the baby reaches a certain amount of months in the womb, they can either do it through the stomach with a long needle. They just pull a little bit of the DNA out and do it that way to find out the genes. Um, there's so many different ways they can do it. Like
so when they test the parents, uh, what is that? Just blood test? Just a normal blood test?
saliva, just saliva.
It's saliva.
Yeah.
So again, why
Wow.
is this something then that the parents even need to ask? Why, especially the mothers, if they're already getting blood work, if they're already there, like why can't it just be part of the procedure of having a baby and going to the doctor if it's free?
Because
And saliva.
let me drop this
Right,
bomb.
it's a saliva test. Like I
Let
don't
me,
get it.
let me drop the bombshell on you, and I'll tell you why. Because you have Big Farm, you have Medicaid, you got Medicare. The majority, 99.5% of all women that are pregnant are on either Medicaid or Medicare.
Right.
Period.
And so I hate to be that person, but if it's paid for by taxpayers,
So hold on. This is where it gets tricky at. Pregnancy testing is expensive as it is. Medicare is covering that cost. When you get into genetics,
Yeah.
all right, so that might open up a whole other can of worms.
yeah. I mean, but
You see what I'm saying?
yeah, that's like another topic, how we can get money from that. But I get that.
But
Dude.
also, wouldn't that tell the doctors if you were at risk for anything?
Right?
Yeah, it would.
I mean, that would help the doctors know if you were at risk for anything with the baby,
And then
Down syndrome or anything, right then and there. And that's
So
Well,
then
they already do. They
what if
already do
finding
a Down
out?
syndrome test. That's not even genetic. They do a Down syndrome test. They do another test.
Right.
yeah.
That's what I mean. If they're doing those
that
tests,
happens. Well,
because
like,
although it might cost taxpayer money and it might be expensive to get
But you
these
don't
tests,
get that.
right? You don't get that. You have to pay for that. So my theory thinking though is, I mean, I'm going from like business aspect at this point.
Yeah.
If it costs the tax money, it costs people money to get the testing, whatever. I understand that. But in hindsight, isn't it still cheaper to get the testing done for prevention causes and catch it ahead of time than to find out later and have to spend millions and millions of dollars on now treatment?
but I tell you what, right now, I tell you what, statistics wise, out of all the people that have took genetic testing, like me and my wife did it. It was free. It was free. We both found out we were carriers for muscular dystrophy, which opened the door for them to give Michaela a diagnosis when they tested her to match her blood work. But then they also found an extra within me, cardiomyopathy. And this is just for that isotope. It's for that mutation. It doesn't cover a bunch of others. Oh, John's muted. Hold on. I can't hear him.
He's probably talking on TikTok.
Yeah, he muted himself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't unmute him. Yeah, so like that just opened up a whole nother can of worms, Right. So you can either get the full blown genetic test, which tests all of your stuff for everything, or you can have it isolated, like it is in mine and my wife's case. We had an isolated genetic test for muscular dystrophy because they were thinking with high liver enzymes, that's where my daughter was headed, muscular dystrophy. So that's what they focused on when they sent that test in to do the testing, and that's what they came up with. They came up with those the PYM02 gene is what they were testing for. They found it. So I'm pretty sure if I go back and get tested again on something else will come up. You know, it's not an isolated test. So whenever they test the mother during pregnancy, when she asks for a Down syndrome test or any of these other tests, they ask through the primary doctor or through the OBGYN, then you're looking at getting it done for free. And then once it's confirmed that you have something, then they go to the father and they're like, okay, you can get it for free as well. Boom, it's done. Then you just wait on the results. You get the neurologist or the pathologist tell you, all right, this is what it is, boom, 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 boom. And there's this much of a percentage of a chance for your child to have this or not. Like in Jill's case, with Jill's journey, in her case, she had it her whole life up to 19, didn't even know it, and then it just hit her. Boom, she was in a wheelchair the next day. It can lay dormant. It can lay dormant inside you.
Right.
I know a guy's 33. He didn't find out what it was till he was 33 years old, and it hit him. So it's really something to think about. Like, is it worth asking about? Are you ready for the answers that you're going to get? See, a lot of people don't want those answers. They don't want to know their sick. They don't want them answers. Like me, when we first got our answers, I was like, that is not what I wanted to hear. But now that I know,
as a carrier yourself, Stephen.
Yeah.
As a carrier yourself, is this something that can affect you even?
Never.
Or are you just a carrier?
I'm just a carrier.
So how do they know for a fact, like, again, I'm still obviously learning, but how do they know for a fact that you're just a carrier versus potentially?
Like I say, when they look at the genes themselves, all the genetic sequences and the codes, they can tell a carrier gene from a full-blown "you've got it" gene.
Right.
So
now,
verify. Go ahead.
Can you be a carrier and have it, or you only one or another? Like when you have that gene, are you only just a carrier, or are you someone who also then has it?
If it's full-blown, you can be both.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's full-blown, like in Michaela's case, she'd be a carrier and she's got it. So if she were to ever to attempt to have a child, our first concern would be to get that child tested before it's even born, so we already know what we're looking at.
Right. And so I guess there's
and test the father, but there's also a chance. Just because you're a carrier, don't mean you're gonna pass it on.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a carrier, my wife's not a carrier, huh?
So I guess they haven't found then obviously what can make you just a carrier. Like, why would you become just a carrier versus being able to have it? Like, that would seem to be like the first step, the closest step, because obviously it's in their DNA, but they don't have it. So what is about that right there that we can at least make that separation from having it and at least just have you be a carrier? You know what I mean? Like,
as a carrier, I don't have anything to worry about.
Right.
If I know what my spouse has, if she's a carrier, then I got something. I know that as a carrier, there's a 25% chance that my child could have it. One in every 3 generations. One in every 3 generations. But us together, there's a chance. There's a 50-50 chance that she won't get it, and there's a 50-50 chance that she's gonna get it, and she's gonna.
The sad thing is, we kind of already have the technology to do certain things because there's already been genetic diseases that throughout time and science and genetics, everybody more or less can be a carrier. Like everybody is certain nowadays, like a carrier of HPV. Everybody more or less has it, but you might not just have the actual symptoms, the everything. But at this point, everybody has it. And that was so like eventually, why can't we just do the same process? And I think the only reason is because, like you say, it's so rare. it is so rare. So it's in some way HPV is more important to them. You know, like so, like the technology is obviously there. It's there.
Well, it ain't even that because the technology says my daughter has hepatitis B. Technology says, but she doesn't have it genetically. She does not have it. It's not in her system. But her liver puts out enough enzymes to make these technological results say that she has hepatitis B.
Right.
She does not have hepatitis B. When we got her paperwork back,
It's like they know so much and so little at the same time.
right, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and it's a touch and go situation because, like, I can go get tested right now. If I don't know nothing, I can go get tested and find out I'm a carrier for whatever cardiomyopathy. That's one of the isotopes I carry in my genetic code for congestive heart failure. I'll never get it, not by that genetic code. I won't get it because I'm a carrier, but don't mean I won't have congestive heart failure later on in life.
Right.
You know, so when it comes to my kids, you know, I can have my kid tested, and if they carry the same isotope, if they're a carrier, they don't have to worry about it. But if my spouse has the same, it's a TY gene. I can't remember the exact name of it. It's a TY gene. If they have the same gene for cardiomyopathy that I have, then there's a 50-50 chance that my child will develop congestive heart failure. Jelena's commenting. Let me read these comments out real quick. She says, okay, so to be a carrier but not have it, one parent carried the defective gene. Yes, that's correct. And she said, since I have it, both my parents carry the defective gene. That is correct. Both of her parents carry the defective gene. And she said Lgmd 2A she's referring to. Her subtype is 2A, which is one of the more populars. Both mom and dad had a defective CAP-N3 gene. So that's how Jelena got her condition right there. Both the mom and the dad had the CAP-N3 gene. So she got a full-blown dose of it. However, hers being different because it didn't affect her from birth. It didn't affect her till she had 19. And then it just slapped her. It lay dormant. It's called early onset. Early onset muscular dystrophy. And that's the scary one. Because we could walk around perfectly healthy and not even know.
It just sits you.
Until that day comes. And you wake up, you can't move your legs, or you can't stand upright, or something happens, and then you're like, oh, I'm getting old, arthritis, whatever, you know.
From that onset.
Times too, though, like, I mean, the pain that these people go through every day, like, man, I can't even feel like I don't even feel like I have the right to complain about my knee hurting or my back hurting.
No, man.
Right.
No. You know, but like with these people that are onset, do they know if there's maybe a certain trigger that caused them to then hit those symptoms automatically? Like, could there be something that you have onset, but then there's a common denominator that had a trigger that then just activated it?
Well, like I threw a fact down there in our feed right there on the banner. Elevated CPK levels can be a first sign of LGMD. So if you go and get some blood work done and your CPK is above 131, which is average, 6 to 131, that's your average between normal, healthy human beings. Michaela, please close your door.
So now, what does like CPK and stuff have to do with like white blood cell levels? Because I've always had an issue where like my white blood cell levels has always been like 6 to 8 times higher than the normal person, but that comes to an immune deficiency that I have. You know, that's what it contributed to.
Well, the good thing about white blood cells, you want white blood cells. You want lots of them.
Right.
You know, because that's your immune system. You have a super immune system. You know what I'm saying? There's not much that's going to, someone can sneeze in your face with whatever, and you're not going to get it, or you'll fight it off immediately. You know?
Yeah,
you won't stay sick long, you'll heal faster, etc. But like with these autoimmune diseases, that they are actually low. The white blood cell count is very, very low. So they are more apt to get sick and stay sick.
Really high. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I don't know what it was, but like I was in the hospital 3 different times through it, and I was like in there to hospital for a week, and they were even talking about doing like liver transplants because whatever was going on was spiking everything.
Yeah,
And
your liver enzymes were high.
what's that?
Your liver enzymes were high. They were elevated.
Yeah, they were extremely, extremely high, and they were getting ready 2 different times to do a liver transplant, and they were prepping me for surgery, and all of a sudden my levels started like
Going
coming
down.
back normal, and they never did anything, and it's weird because I'm fine, and then next thing you know, I get like 104 fever, and when I go to the bathroom, like pee, it looks like maple syrup, dude. It's happened 3 times
Oh
already.
wow.
Right.
Dude, it's thick. The first time I go to the hospital and they're like, "So have you urinated?" I'm like, "Yo, I've tried." And they're like, "So you dehydrated?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know I'm dehydrated. I have a very high fever. I know this." They're like, "All right, well, try and give us a sample." And I'm like, "Dude, I haven't peed all day. I'm telling you, it's not working. Like, it's not something's not happening." And I finally did it, and I only got like a little bit out, but it was the doctor looked at it and it was like, "Oh, all right, yeah, we're inpatient, you." I was like,
Right.
"Okay."
I mean, and I'm willing to bet that when your liver enzymes are that high, you would test positive for hepatitis B, but you don't have it.
Right, and that's what they were looking into, weren't they? They were saying that it was testing positive, but then they did blood work when I was like being discharged, and it wasn't there.
Right. It's not there. Same with Michaela. Same thing. So, I mean, naturally, when your CPK's up, your white blood cells go up because it's fighting off pain of some sort. A person with elevated white blood cell count is going to be higher at times. It spikes because the progressive disease. It's a waste. It's a waste. It's a muscle wasting disease. So, some days if she like overdoes it, like whether she walks too far or pedals her bike too long or whatever activity she does to exerts herself, her white blood cell count is going to be a little bit higher that day, and her CPK is going to be through the roof. As you can see down on the bottom, the average person is 6 and 131. My daughter's is 600,000. It's over 600,000. That's her pain level, but it's so high she can't even comprehend it. She hurts. Don't get me wrong. You guys tell when a person like that hurts because they take extra hot showers or they need the heat on. If it's cold, it hurts them 20 times worse. 20 times worse. Like
Yeah,
they tell us all the time. Go ahead.
too. I mean, that's why it smiles through the pain. It's crazy. I couldn't do it.
No, I'm a little girl. I'll be the first to admit.
No.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
so
get
Jill just
the
commented.
world's ending.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jill just commented. She said, "Okay, so with me, both my parents were carriers of the gene that caused my age." Yes, Jill, that's exactly what happened. I'm willing to bet on a 99.9% win ratio that I am exactly correct, and that helps. Like she said, and she also just said warm water helps alleviate muscle pain, um, keeping them warm. The cold just makes it 100 times worse. So
It's
winter,
probably contracts your muscles.
right,
It's doing
right,
what cold.
right. So as far as that goes, like Michaela, the winter time is the worst for her. Off the top, going
And
outside
living in places like Arizona is like perfect.
to an
Yeah.
extent, yeah, to an extent, but she can't overexert. And
Right.
when the body sweats, it's working overtime. You know, the body's really working to maintain that sweat to keep you cool. And so even with PT, she can't overdo it. See, Jill just said the cold stings like a bee when it's cold. That's what it feels like. It stings like a bee. So
Wow.
the influence of pain is on different levels for different temperatures and everything. Thank you, Fatty. Thank you for the flowers, brother. Thank you. So I mean, as we watch Michaela as she's going, they're giving her a timeline. Like we can literally see the timeline through all the information we've studied. We know exactly what stage Michaela's in, and she's about to be in a wheelchair. It's very, very close to that point. Every day is a struggle for her to get out of bed. She has to like roll over and wobble. She has trouble sleeping. Has trouble getting up off the couch. Not to mention getting in and out of a vehicle. And now her hands are going too. I can't tell you what's going through my kid's mind. You know, I mean, it's devastating as a parent. Totally devastating.
Because there's nothing you can do about it. All you want them to do as a kid is go out there and play.
That's it. That's it. And like I said, 2 years ago, I got Michaela to play basketball on a team at her school. I was the coach. And granted, she can only be on the court for maybe 30 seconds at a time, maybe a minute at tops. Maybe 3 times a game. But those 180 seconds a game or whatever it was that she got to play basketball and be a part of something were probably the best times of my kid's life. Because for once she felt equal to everybody else and everybody was pushing her forward. She felt like she was accomplishing a goal that couldn't be accomplished. So mentally that helped. And then when she changed schools, now that she can't play sports no more, it's just, what do I do now? I'm not the coach at this school, So I mean, there's nothing I can do but do everything in my power. And her school, granted, don't get me wrong, her school does excellent as far as her IEP program and all that stuff, as far as keeping her from overdoing herself while she's at school.
Right.
Like she has to have a separate PE class and everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, separate everything. They actually are trying to
I
get.
never even thought of that.
Yeah, because she can't compete on the same level. Like running to Michaela is a trot at that, and that trot you can tell is painful because her hips pop. Or when she walks, you can see she waddles kind of like a duck in a way, not quite more like a penguin when she walks sometimes. And it's because her legs are hurting. And when she tries to run, it's not even, you can't even call it a run. It's not a canter. It's nothing. It's more like a zombie shuffle. To put it for lack of better words, it's like a zombie shuffle.
Right.
You can tell she's stiff, that it's not working in her favor. And if she goes too fast, she's going to hit the ground. Her mind can't comprehend that speed.
Yeah.
It can't do it. It can't do it. She's going to hit the ground.
Now, just a question. I know you said that she's like a younger age in her brain and stuff. Even if she could drive, would that affect her driving?
She's not going to be able to drive.
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
she just won't be able to.
No, she's not going to be able to drive. At where she's at now and continuing going downhill, at her age, she should be able to count change. She should be able to tie her shoe. But if she can't even, like literally, my 7-year-old can drive my truck in my neighborhood, sitting on my lap, and I can try to get my kid to do it, and it just doesn't work. The eye and hand coordination, the gas versus brake is almost reversed. I've tried to get her. She won't do it no more. I've tried to get her to drive even her mom's little car, and it just doesn't work. There's the comprehension. It's just like me trying to tell her how to tie her shoes. She didn't learn how to tie her shoes till she was 12, and she still doesn't do it right. If I tell her to bring me 25 cents, she brings me 2 nickels. It's here, and she's confident she brought me 25 cents. She said, "Here, I brought you 2 quarters," and she's 14. And it's not because she's stupid. She doesn't comprehend.
Right. It's just the connections don't stick.
Right. It's like putting a piece of bologna on a sandwich and just holding the sandwich on it. It just falls off. It's just like you slap it on it and it just falls right off. Doesn't matter how many times you put it on it, it's going to fall off. Whereas if you slap some peanut butter with some butter on there, it's going to stick. It's just.
Listen, guys, I had to bounce out. I gotta get kids to bed and stuff and everything here. And
Put this up there.
what's that?
Jill just commented. I'm gonna throw it up here. And she said, and there are enough of those people to fill those positions. Many kids don't have that benefit, so more funding is needed. That is correct. And then she also said, um, doesn't affect everyone with LGMD driving, though. But yes, to second what he said, most kids who show symptoms in younger years will not get to drive. So there you have it from one of our activists who also has muscular dystrophy, who is in a wheelchair.
Wow.
You know, it's just she has a different subtype, but um, I can tell you right now, my child will never have a real job. She can't wait tables because she can't carry. She can't do mathematics. She can't work a register. What job can she do? What job can she do?
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, like literally, what kind of a job can my daughter have that would help her? She can't have her own apartment. You know, she can't do it. There's so many things that she just cannot do as a person, physically and mentally. You know, she can't do it. She can't do it, and you know, like I'm set up in my house to take care of her for the rest of her life. You know, like that's the way. That's why she's got the only bedroom with a bathroom right next to her bed. You know, that's
Yeah.
why Home Depot and Lowe's are donating the handicap rails to put up right there so she can help herself stand up. That's why we're trying to get her a cane or a walking stick so she can move to the bathroom or whatever it is. You know, and as soon as she needs it, I'm putting a ramp on the front of my house. You know, as soon as she needs it. So I mean, the preparation is there because we got the knowledge of it. So I mean, but that doesn't help her any at all.
Right.
Yeah, it makes it easier for her to get in and out of her house and all this, but you still got to remember she started from hers is a little different from Jill's. You know, Jill had her whole life, didn't know it, got slapped with it when she was 19 years old. Where Michaela, we're telling her it's coming. You know, we started telling her when we found out she was 12 years old, like, you're not going to walk one day. You're not going to be able to stand up. You're going to need help. You'll never have a job. And she'll sit there and smile and say, okay. And then she'll cry a little bit. And then she'll smile again and say, okay. You know, she doesn't comprehend. You know, just period. She does not comprehend. And as a father looking at my child like one day she's going to call me in the morning and be like, Dad, I can't get up. Come get me. And she's gonna be so happy about it, and that's what's gonna mess with my head so bad. She's gonna be perfectly okay with it. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
No, I can't walk today. Come get me. I'm good. You know. And her physical therapy teachers and doctors all say the same thing. They'll ask her as soon as we get her, Michaela, are you in any pain? And she'll say, no. I'm like, you're lying to me. You're lying to
Right.
me because your blood work says otherwise. You know. So Michaela can sit here and smile on my face all day and say she don't hurt. It took her
It,
2 years to actually come out of the closet and tell me like, Dad, I'm hurting. You know. So I mean, for it's a curse and a blessing. I'm glad that she can't feel the full effect of all that pain. I'm glad she does not comprehend that. Yeah, it hurts her.
yeah.
I know it does. It hurts her body. Let's go that way. It's like she's numb to the fact that she's in pain. She knows it because it seeps through, it breaks through at times. She knows it. However, it just, I don't know. It's just hard to comprehend, even for me. Like, how does someone deal with something like that? You know,
I know I wouldn't be able to.
like I wouldn't either. Like, as a fully functioning adult, how do you go to the doctor and find out, like, your time walking is limited, your time with your hands is limited, your time talking is limited? How do you go to sleep at night?
Yeah.
You know, how do you literally go to sleep at night knowing that you might not get up in the morning? Granted, we know every day,
Even that.
a part of life, we know we might not wake up in the morning. You know, it's a given. Our time could be at any time. But this ain't talking about our time leaving this world. It's talking about our time being hindered in this world, like cut short, boom, boom.
Mhm.
You can still be alive, but you can't do this right here. You know, mentally, what does that do to a person? That's what we got to
All
ask
right,
ourselves.
Joe. I love you. I gotta get my kids to bed here. I'm gonna get back on to doing some things here.
You're good,
But yo,
brother. I appreciate you coming on.
no, man, I appreciate being here. Thank you so much. Love you, fam. I'll catch y'all soon.
All right, later.
Later.
Yeah, so
It just amazes me every day because every day, you're teaching me something new about this, man. Every day I'm learning something new.
well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything because I'm learning every day just as much as you are. You know what I'm saying? Because it's my goal to seek out the cure to this, and the only way, or at least to seek out a way to make it easier on my child's life or someone else's child's life. You know, what can I do to help benefit her to make her more comfortable or
Yeah.
more adequate to fit in to be a part of something? What can I do to help her? You know I can't cure it. It's going to take a lot to do that. John's iPad died. That's why he's gone. He just messaged.
My
But
phone died and I had to switch back over to the computer.
yeah, I'm running off my laptop. But like literally, like that's why I seek out information because maybe there's something out there that can help her. I know it's not going to stop this disease. It's not going to stop it. The only way to stop it is to go through genetic alteration, and they got to do a lot of testing before they do that.
I'm gonna I'm gonna get into this and I'm gonna look and I'm gonna find me a genetic test and I'm gonna take one.
Invitate.com, brother.
Yeah.
I'm about to
And
put it up there. I'm about to put it up there since you just said something about it.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down a minute ago.
Just
Going
for the people
back
watching,
intro,
just
yeah.
for the people watching, so they can see it. You know.
I'm
Um,
gonna I'm gonna get this test in, and I think it's something that we'll go through together. Everybody can see,
right.
just to show everybody,
I mean, before you go in, you got to remember, like, keep this in mind. Like, they're gonna ask you some questions.
Yeah,
So they're gonna ask you, all right, well, do you have people with heart conditions in your family history, or
I
whatever?
do.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
do.
So you want to answer all these questions to the best of your knowledge, and not find out some answers before you're like, what have we ever had? Like, um,
See, most of the members of my family die at the age of around 60 to either heart problems, um, diabetes, or something like that.
everything. I mean, you
So, I
everything.
mean, that is
Whatever
a
you
genetic
have.
issue in my family that I would love to know more about. And I would really like to find out more information on that. And I think I'm going to get ahead of this and do the genetic testing because maybe it's something that can save my life, even with the heart issues.
It's not even that. If you plan on having another child, whether or not you do, if you plan on having another child, you know the percentages that this could possibly happen, and if it does, you're ready.
Yeah,
You know, you're ready. And also, like, if you come up with something like, if you're a carrier for anything, like, I understand, you got your children there, and you're like, all right, well, if you find out like me, like you're a carrier for cardiomyopathy, which is congestive heart failure, then every 6 months you're going to want to have your daughter's heart monitored. Check
yeah,
check the heartbeat, make sure it's still working right. All that good stuff because who knows? It might be onset. It might be early onset. So I mean,
yeah,
if that's the case, then one day it just pops up. Not now you're prepared for it if it comes.
yeah.
You're more prepared, and that's proper preparation. That's where we need to be at in this because, like, my wife and I, it was just
You
thrown
were
there.
blindsided. You were blindsided by all this.
Just thrown in the lap. Like, here, this is what it is. Deal with it. And it's so late in the game. It's so late in the game in the muscle dystrophy game that we can just sit back and go for the ride. all we can do is make some noise about it. Raise some awareness. Try to get these genetic labs open so they can do more genetic testing because my daughter's subtype is way down the list. It's way down the list. Subtype 2A is getting the majority of all the attention. Duchenne's and subtype 2A are the two types that are getting majority of all the testing done. I mean, they're on the verge of some breakthroughs. Don't get me wrong. But is that breakthrough cure my kid?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit back and wait and find out.
And maybe they're overlooking something that somebody else out there can do.
Well, not just that. I mean, true. All right, they can tell me, all right, you just sit back and relax. We're working on something for subtype 2A. It might work on 2N. Keyword there, might.
Mm-hmm.
So why sit back when I can open up a whole nother lab and focus on numerous subtypes? We're not going to focus on just one. We're going to do a comparison of all these subtypes. There's 38. Let's do a comparison on all of them. Let's see which ones co-align with each other as far as genetic mutation goes. And then let's work towards finding a cure that's going to cure 4 or 5 at a time, 6, 7, 8 at a time. That's the plan. All right, just doing one, yeah, it might be a cure for a couple of them, but guess what? It ain't going to cure my kid's comprehension.
Yeah.
It ain't going to keep my kid from being in a wheelchair. It might stop the disease where it's at, but if it stops it when it's too late, when the muscles are already gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. Once the muscles are gone, they're not coming back. That's the biggest thing. So if you catch it earlier when they're like 1 or 2 years old and they're still growing, they haven't reached their actual mass of muscle yet, even though they're fighting by the day to maintain that strength because they're literally growing and deteriorating at the same time. It's that's how it works. It's tearing apart and growing at the same time. So as they're getting up to like 12, 13, 14 years old, it's kind of a stay. But once they reach that threshold to where you start slowing down your muscle growth because the deterioration it's outrunning the acceleration of the deterioration, then you got a problem. And it depends on how fast that progressive deterioration is going. It's going to define how long you have. It also depends on how long it's been since you found out. So if you find out at an early stage, before it's really taken hold, and you find that cure in the early stage, granted, you just saved yourself a lot of heartache. You saved yourself a lot of worry, a lot of everything because you were able to stop it where it was at. See, I can stop it where it's at right now. My daughter will still limp for the rest of her life. She'll still struggle out of bed for the rest of her life. Doesn't matter. It's still there. But she's not in the wheelchair. If I could stop it right this instant, right this instant, that would keep her out of the wheelchair. That would keep her from a lot of unnecessary mental and other, issues as far as being disabled goes. It wouldn't keep her from not having a job because she still wouldn't be able to have a job. Sorry. None of that stuff. I mean, it wouldn't help none of that. All it would stop is the actual deterioration process. What's lost is lost. And that's why we're struggling so hard right now to try and go ahead and get it because she's already lost so much. These other people have already lost so much. Even with Jill, she's in the chair. She can still stand up. It takes her a few minutes to get out of that chair, but she can get up on her feet. If it keeps going, what's going to happen? She ain't going to be able to do that. And then that just being able to get up on your feet, we count it as a blessing. Thank you, Juicy. Thank you. That'd be counted as a blessing. People take for granted, the ability to be able to curl your toes and stretch your feet out, stand up, run, jog, hug people, smile at people, laugh, all this stuff. They take advantage.
I was just doing a little bit of reading here, and it says the CPK of greater than 5,000 to 6,000 has a risk of renal failure.
Yep. Here's a link right here. Jill just dropped it in. Feel free to take that down. HTTPS Lgmd-info.org Lgmd facts. She says feel free to Go to this link for CPK for a CPK level explanation. CPK level explanation, and for how it's inherited.
I mean, all of this stuff is just amazing information to me. Which I'm a learner anyway. I love to learn stuff. I'm always reaching for that next step to grow.
Right, right.
And all of this stuff here, man, it is just overwhelming how much information there is on this one topic that nobody really knows.
Right. Yeah, nobody's aware. I mean, that's why we have awareness sessions to try and make these people aware. And like I said, that's why you have to each one reach one and teach one, because you don't want to teach something that you can't speak about. Like
Right.
I live with it. It just walked past me. I can physically see the symptoms. She just walked past, and just as she's walking past, it's late in the evening. She's already limping. You know, you can tell. Usually with Michaela, by lunchtime, she's starting to slow down. It's already beating her down.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you. I do want to learn. I want to learn as much as I can.
Yeah,
I want
absolutely.
to learn about this and, like you said, teach others about this. I want to know, and I don't want to be one of those people that talk from, oh, Steven said it. No offense, bud, but oh, Steven said it, so I'm going to take his word for it, and I'm going to go out there and tell everybody that Steven said this. No, I want to learn the information for myself also, and like Jill put up the link here for us, so other people can go out there and learn information for themselves. This is information that everyone needs to
Yeah.
and take as much as.
Thank you.
Oh, we're losing you.
I mean, this is all stuff that. I mean,
You're breaking up, brother. You're breaking up. You better now? There you
yeah, I
go.
can hear
You
you
good.
again.
Yeah, you broke up just a little bit. But
And this
yeah,
is all stuff that everybody out there should reach out and grab a hold of.
yeah, absolutely. And see, a lot of people look at, like, they're so quick to judge, prejudgment. They look at a person, they see them in a wheelchair, and they're like, oh, they're handicapped, whatever. And then the person stands up and walks a few feet, and take advantage of that person by putting them on blast about, oh, they're faking this, that, and third. Well, guess what? People with Lgmd, some of them can still walk around. They can get around. It might hurt, and it might be slower than everybody else, but they can still do it. Jill's a prime example. She can still get out of that chair when she wants to. It's not easy. She's got a TikTok up of her trying to get out of her chair. I'm not sure if you've seen that one or not, but she has a
I've seen
TikTok
it, yes.
of her trying to get out of her chair. So she can still do it. However, a year from now, 2 years from now, is she still going to be able to do it? That's the question.
A fact right here: some people with limb-girdle muscular dystrophy may appear stronger than their peers when they are young. Lgmd symptoms can first appear at any age: childhood, teens, adulthood, or even later in life, like we were talking about. But even that right there, they may appear stronger when they're younger.
That's right. Yeah, like even with Michaela, like she used to run around like the perfect little kid. After she got out of her braces, Megan used to tell me all the time about the stuff that she would do. She'd falling off the front porch, going fishing, doing all kind of stuff. You know, and now she can't do none of that. Not without assistance.
I'm gonna bookmark this page here. Thank you so much, Jill. I'm gonna bookmark it, and you were stronger when you were younger too. I'm gonna bookmark this page, and I think every day on my podcast, I'm going to read at least one fact to the people when I start out, because this is something that needs to be brought out more. Just the facts of things. So I'm gonna bookmark this page, and every day on my podcast, I'm gonna read one fact before we start.
Yeah, I mean that's what we gotta do, man. We gotta hit facts and build upon those facts.
Yeah.
You know, and repetition is key. At
Yeah.
19, I was only able to pick up my son off the floor. I was or wasn't. Could be a typo. I'm not sure. I just want to make sure. Oh, your daughters. Yeah, yeah. She could pick up her son, but not her daughters. At 19, 20. You know,
That's amazing.
you know. I mean, and like she said, people stare, they laugh. Says it's funny when you get out of the chair and try to walk. To a person who has a family member that's stricken with this condition, it's not funny at all.
It's not funny at all. It's not funny to me. I have no family members in this fight other than you guys, and it's not funny to me. It's the video we shared today about the young gentleman with disorder and people making fun of him. Why?
Right.
Why do you have to make fun of somebody? Why do you need to feel that necessity to be over somebody else?
That's right.
Now,
That's right.
I consider myself an alpha male. I do. I'm a gun-toting, red-blooded American. I consider myself an alpha male. But I do not need to hold myself at a higher standard than anybody else.
Well, see, let me tell you something about that. Since you hit that subject, I've learned a long time ago that when people talk about other people in a negative fashion, they're really talking about themselves.
Yeah.
They really are. Because
you're right.
when you're
absolutely right.
It's just like that man that wants to learn so much. People run around the world trying to learn all of this stuff, and they don't even know what's going on within themselves. So they, in all reality, they sound so smart up here, like the big guy, big tough guy, whatever. But inside, they're weak. They're crumbling apart, and it's because they cannot face their own reality.
That is true. Just because you have your own insecurities does not mean that you need to make fun of somebody else's.
Just like making fun of someone that's overweight.
Yeah, same thing with making fun of people that's overweight. Same thing. All right, Jill just dropped in another comment. She said, "I could pick up me as a baby, but my daughters, I would get on my knees, put them on the coffee table, stand, and then pick them up and put them on my hip." So she could not literally lift her child from the floor up to her hip.
And Michaela already has that.
Michaela
Jill,
already.
correct me if I'm wrong, but at this point in time with your daughters, when you were doing that, you didn't know you had it, right?
That's what I want to
know. See, while she's typing that answer, Michaela already does that.
No, will you please ask her for me? I would like to call her. Will you please ask her when things started getting worse?
E being Ethan. Okay, I got you. All right, I got you. So she said I could pick up Ethan as a baby, but my daughters, I would get on my knees and put them on the coffee table, stand and pick them up, and then put them on my hip. Jill, my wife had a question. What was it, babe?
When did things start getting really worse? And I don't want to hear 19.
Yeah, Jill, my wife asked, in your journey, we know it's with 2A, subtype 2A, when actually, factually, actually, did you start realizing that you were going
that there was something wrong?
That there was something wrong. That's what I would like to know as a parent for my child. When did you actually figure out that something inside you was not working correctly?
Girl, you knew you had it, but with the other two, you did not know.
And like Michaela does it with Liliana all the time. Granted, Liliana's a 30-pound baby. But a 14-year-old should be able to pick up a 30-pound baby. But Michaela will literally start to pick her up and then put her on something like the couch or a cushion, and then she'll have to literally walk her up her leg to pick her up, and then get her arms up. But once she's got her arm up under her, she can lock her arms so she's good for a little while, but then she has to put her back down.
Yeah.
But it is a struggle for her to do that.
Jill, I'd love to get you back on here maybe tomorrow night if you're free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime you want to get on here and talk more, just let us know.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we're all learning from each other. Like, yeah, they got two different subtypes. She's 14, she's in her 30s, but still,
I'm going to be calling Jill tomorrow. Please let her know.
Jill, my wife, says she will be giving you a call tomorrow. But still, there's things that we can learn from the two, even with the age gap. You know, even with the subtype difference, there's still things that we can learn to try to alleviate other problems. She says, I was in the 7th grade or 8th grade. I was the last runner. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't go faster. They said I had a minor case of scoliosis and will grow out of it.
That scares me.
You want to comment?
That scares
Come comment. Hold on. My wife's got something to say.
me. No, that scares me.
This scares you?
That scares me.
Why? Because the same thing with Michaela?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I want you to come and say, like, all this is being recorded, babe.
That scares me.
Come speak about it because you were there. I wasn't.
No, that just, I mean, like, I gotta go watch it.
My wife says that scares her because it was pretty much the same thing with Michaela.
Michaela can't. God. So, okay, she said 7th, 8th grade. So when did she end up having to rely on wheelchair at times?
All right, she says, I couldn't get my leg to step up onto the sidewalk from the street.
Yep, that's Michaela.
That's Michaela. She said okay to the phone call. So then I decided to go to the doctor in Elkhart. So Michaela's like already there. That's where she's at.
What's happening is, I don't really want to be on camera with crap.
It doesn't matter.
You go step on your kid. Go talk to your kids for a minute since we're on this subject.
I'll be right back. She's gonna take over for 1 second.
So, we've all heard Michaela's story. I'm coming. Gonna squeeze by. Like, we've all heard Michaela's story, but, sorry, I'm a mess. But that scares me because Michaela's there now. And, like, Michaela has gradually got worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Michaela, even when she was younger, like, she would participate with stuff, but when things got worse, I mean, what Jill just said is Michaela. And so now, me as a parent, I sit here and think, is that going to happen to her? You know, like you read a fact, I was over there dealing with clean up the kids stuff. And it said that some of them appear stronger than, you know, an older one. That's Michaela.
Yeah.
Hey, Jill. I have people that look at Michaela and they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with her. But let me give you an example of Michaela. So we have a place back home called Cool Park Pool, right? And they have water slide, and they have diving boards, and like they're different heights, you know. And all these kids jump off of them. And Michaela jumped off, not the lowest one, like a standard pool diving board, but she jumped off the next up level. It wasn't extremely high, but she jumped off, and she jumped like a normal kid would. And when she came up, she was screaming. And all I could think of was to get her out of the water. Something's wrong. And, you know, at the time, we didn't know what was going on. And all she could say was, that hurt. And I said, well, did you land wrong? And she was like, no, just hitting the water made my legs and arms hurt.
Well, Jill said that cold makes it feel like a bee sting.
I mean, I get that, and I understand that. But even Michaela takes scalding hot water baths. Like, it's like a sauna when she comes out of our bathroom. But I noticed Michaela, even before testing, she would, like, if we had friends over or a family gathering or whatever, and they would do fun stuff, Michaela wouldn't do it. But you can see the look on her face that I want to do this, but if I do it, am I going to suffer the repercussions to it, so to say? But it does scare me to know that Jill was in the 7th, 8th grade and this started being a problem because that's where Michaela is. That scares me. That really scares me. Because now that confirms it on that end. And nobody really knows how this subtype 2N works. Is it going to hit her sooner or is it going to hit her later?
Yeah, because with that being said, Jill, you had her, 5 years until...
No, Jill, she's not really physical. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jill. She is in physical therapy, yes. But what they're going to do is like see her for 8 weeks and then she'll be dismissed for a while and then she'll go back.
She's already been dismissed from physical therapy. So she's on occupational only.
What about the wheelchair?
They're still getting the wheelchair.
Okay.
But physical therapy is over with. She said it's doing nothing. They need to get her an occupational.
Wow.
She told Michaela that she was literally lying to her face when she came in there. She said, how's Michaela doing? I said, same as always. I'm around smiling. She says, Michaela, you in any pain? She's like, no, I feel great. She said, you're lying. Your charts say otherwise.
Even a hot tub, Jill?
What'd you do?
See, Jill, Michaela, when we would go swimming, she'll go swimming like
Reverb. Is that you, Robert? Something was reverb in bed.
Michaela will go swimming, but she'll swim for a little bit and then she gets out when she's done.
We're losing one sound. Yep, Robert's muted. He muted himself. You're on mute. Hold on, we're having technical difficulties. Robert's on mute. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good evening. You're frozen, Robert. No sound. Unmute your microphone. It says that you muted yourself.
Oh, find the issues here.
You're back. I can hear you now.
Hear me? Hear you.
You can't hear me. How about now? Nothing? Alright, how about now? How about now? It's about muscle dystrophy awareness. My daughter has it. We are a nonprofit organization based out of North Carolina, and we are trying to find a cure for muscular dystrophy.
I don't know what's going on. You want to hear it or not?
I can hear you.
I got the gremlins.
I got something going on. How about now? Can you hear me now? Nothing. I don't know what's going on.
Have my sign off quick and get back on there. Everybody go out and check out Mouse of the Pain YouTube channel. There's still space in between.
Anna, stop. Stop.
Still space in between. So smiles, space through, space, 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 and see.
I changed it. It's all one. It's all one now. It's all one.
I'm wrong. And then Q for you podcast. Check out Mouse of the Pain on TikTok. Hitting the MD journey on TikTok. Check her out on YouTube. Be a champion. Not for somebody else than do it for yourself. I'll be me. You be you. Till next time. I'm here for you. Mouse of the Pain recorded on YouTube. There it is right there, guys. Much love to Steven Sanders. Share on TikTok. Give him a follow. He's our Smiles of the Pain recorded through his own page now. So go out there, each one, learn something, and then teach one. All right, guys.